So now I'm just going to give you a brief introduction to Seedcamp. Who are we, for those of you that don't know us? I'm going to give you a bit more detail. So Seedcamp is the best platform for founders to find validation, capital, advice, and network. We think those are crucial elements for any startup to succeed, and we spent many, many years trying to perfect that. So who's behind the team? As I've already said, my name's Kirsten, and we have Reshma and Carlos, who are the two partners, Hillary, and an awesome intern, Sia. So we're a small team and heavily rely on our mentors and our sponsors and our supporters to execute all these events across Europe that we host. And I'll be telling you some more of the locations where we're going next. As Andres already mentioned, Seedcamp, we really like numbers, we like figures, we like to review how are we doing. We do the same with our teams, and so we expect the same level of detail from ourselves. So we took a look at the numbers, and I will share some of these with you. So per year, we receive between 2,000 to 3,000 applications. They come from 50 different countries, and just to really emphasize that, last week we hosted Seedcamp Week London, and for that event alone, we received applications from over 50 countries. So that really does show you how truly global we are, and it's amazing to find that many entrepreneurs who really want to connect with Seedcamp. So we're very honored to be attracted to that many startups. Then we organize, as I already mentioned, mentoring. Mentoring is really key for us to support each other, to gain advice from those who've been there and done it before you. So we've organized for 800 startups to be mentored across 20 cities. And then how does that result in who do we invest in? So after Seedcamp Week London, which happened last week, we made another 8 investments. We're extremely proud for them to be joining the team, and we look forward to working with them. One of them was Go Work A Bit, who you might have heard from Estonian. We love Estonian companies, and so another one joined the family, which is brilliant. So the teams that we've invested in come from roughly from 35 different countries. Here, it just shows you a small breakthrough of where the companies are. As I said, it really ranges throughout all of Europe. In Latvia, we've invested in Repairy app, in Bustel, and in Mighty Fingers, who I think will be joining us later on. So do make sure you talk to them, ask them about their experience, so you can learn more what it's like from a startup's perspective. So that's how we sort of find the companies and the places we go to meet them. But what do the companies get once they become part of the Seedcamp program? So Seedcamp has been running since 2007, and within those years, we've gained an awful lot of experience as to what companies need. And one of the key elements that we work with for startups is finding MVP. And so we've designed an entire Seedcamp Academy around product market fit. I could talk to you in an awful lot of detail what goes in within that, but all the details are on our website, and if you want to hear more, I'll come and talk to you about it during the networking. The other element is, of course, the funding. As I already mentioned, we get office space from Google, so it's brilliant to work alongside your peers and also the Seedcamp team. We daily get mentors, investors coming to our offices, so it's such a great place to be based. You will meet everyone that's worth meeting when you're there. And then the final point to mention is that we host 2 trips to the US every year. It's crucial for us to build those bridges to the US. So twice a year, we take teams who are really ready to scale, and we take them to the East Coast and the West Coast. We spend about 3 weeks out there, over 70 to 80 meetings, the top tier investors. We meet great platforms and amazing founders who've already been there, and they're really keen to share their knowledge with young European startups. So that's a little bit about what does a team go through when you're part of the program and the family. Here's again, as I mentioned, we don't just sit in London in the head office and wait for startups to come to us. We really love going out and meeting startups in their own hometown. So this is why it's amazing to be here today. And yesterday, I spent a few hours with the teams that you're going to see shortly. They're incredibly talented, and we're so excited about sharing what they're getting up to with you. So this is why it's crucial for us to go to different cities and meet the local startup ecosystem. So we're obviously in Riga today. We're going to be going to Istanbul, Paris, Stockholm, Sofia, Rome for the first time, and we'll be announcing a couple more cities very shortly. So going back into the numbers just a little bit. So since 2007, we've received roughly 9,000 applications. So there's an awful lot of businesses that we see, an awful lot of talent. As I already mentioned, they're spread from 70 different countries, and we've hosted 56 mentoring events. So we're pretty experienced in organizing events like today. And then going deeper into the companies that we've invested in. So this number is already out of date because, as I mentioned yesterday, we just announced another 8 companies that we've invested in. But let's look at how are those companies doing. So this number says 7. 7 have already exited, and actually 2 weeks ago we just had another exit. Uberview sold, they're from Romania, and they sold to Hootsuite. So we're incredibly proud of that. We're incredibly proud that a few more Seedcamp founders have become millionaires. It's always a nice day when that happens, right? Then if you're looking at the other side, 11 companies have closed. And I think what's really important to note there is that the founders haven't failed. A lot of the founders have gone on to join other Seedcamp companies, and they're helping those teams grow. And so they're still very much within the ecosystem, still very much involved in Seedcamp. So we're incredibly happy about that. Then, if we're going to look a bit about the numbers, looking at the average age, our youngest founder is 21, and he's from Vienna, incredibly talented. Our oldest founder is 46, so quite a broad spectrum. Whenever they feel the need to start up their company, we're ready to support them. The average age is roughly 30. And then more about the 119 teams that Seedcamp has already invested in. I've already mentioned that one of the key elements that we really try and help these teams with is getting follow-on funding and growing and scaling. And to do that, they need to go and raise more money than what Seedcamp invests initially. So our teams have raised 130 million between them. That is a really impressive figure, and something within Europe that I think Seedcamp is pretty unique at achieving if you're looking at other similar programs. So it's a number we're very, very proud of, and if you sort of don't remember anything else about Seedcamp, I hope this figure sort of sticks in your mind. And so that translates to an average 1.3 million per startup, and 83% of our companies raise follow-on funding. And just to add a little bit of the timing element, so on average, our teams raise that money within 3 to 6 months. So it's a huge acceleration from when they join the Seedcamp program. Then again, a bit about the numbers and who are these people who have invested the 130 million. So it's just under 400 unique investors. I think that really demonstrates, the network that Seedcamp has. And as I already explained, going to the US and building bridges to the US is so key for us. And that's related in a third of our companies having a US investor within their team. And that also makes life much easier for them. If they want to set up in the US, if they want to move there, they already have that know-how within their team, so it enables them to grow and scale much, much faster. Here, hopefully you recognize some of the names of the companies that we've invested in. We're obviously immensely proud of each and every one of them, but I just picked out a few to highlight. So maybe hands up, who's going to Tech Chili tomorrow? Okay, great. So quite a few of you will then meet some more of our founders. I looked at the schedule, and Christo, who's the founder of TransferWise, he's going to speak. He's one of our teams. They're an incredible company, along with his co-founder, Tavit. They're from Estonia. They set up a peer-to-peer exchange network. I alone, through changing pounds to euros, have saved over £1,000, so an incredibly useful service that I use. If you're exchanging money, you should definitely take a look and try and speak to Christo tomorrow. He's awesome. Another Estonian one is Airplay. Again, Chris will be speaking tomorrow, as will Jay from Camplis. So it's really nice to see that some of the older founders that we've invested in 2 or 3 years ago, they're going to be on stage tomorrow and sharing their knowledge with you. Just to point out a few others, Edited is a Bloomberg for fashion. They're Australian founders based in London. Traity is a Spanish superstar. He's a genius at growth hacking. He comes back in as part of the Seedcamp Academy program and teaches the youngest founders, how to do growth hacking. So we're really keen on sharing, making sure the knowledge stays within the family, and the older founders, really help the newer founders grow. And then again, a bit about sort of who does Seedcamp invest in. So in 2006, we did six investments. Last year, we did 28 investments. And this year, we're looking to invest in somewhere between 20 to 30 companies. Again, this just sort of demonstrates, I've already covered this, but how global Seedcamp is. And this just sort of demonstrates where our mentors are based. So we really are very global. So what is today all about? Today is about connecting, meeting, and learning. You're going to hear from 10 brilliant startups. They're going to tell you what they're doing. We have a panel of experts who will be giving feedback. There's a couple of master classes, so please all, and then we'll have a bit of a networking event at the end. So please all share knowledge, advice, meet each other. I hope, if nothing else, you will have met someone interesting today and learned something new. So just to go through the schedule, a little more detail, I'm only going to be on for another few minutes, then I'm going to hand you over to Pietro from Connect Ventures. He's going to give you a masterclass in BizDev for startups. Connect Ventures is also invested in a Seedcamp team, Nitrogram, so they're an incredible firm based in London, and it'd be great to hear a bit more from him. Then the 10 teams are going to give 3-minute presentations. There's no Q&A. The panel is going to do the Q&A. As I mentioned, there's networking afterwards, so if you want to ask them something, you think you have a good contact for them, you have some advice for them, really make sure that afterwards, go find them and hopefully, share those things that you have to share. Then we're going to hear from Seedus. So Seedus is a funding platform. I have to say, Ricardo, who you're going to hear from, used to be part of the Seedcamp family. He's moved across. He's now doing an incredible job at Seedus, and we've already worked together there. So he's going to tell you much more about that. Should be good. Bustel, I mentioned Anders, the CEO, who's also the founder of Tech Chile. He was one of our most recent investments. He's going to tell you what it's like being part of the Seedcamp program from a startup's perspective. And then we'll do a really quick wrap-up where Tech Hub is going to announce their 2 winning teams that will be back on stage tomorrow. And as I already mentioned, a bit of networking. So that's the schedule for today. Just to highlight who's going to be on the panel, if I could ask them to, when the 10 teams start presenting, to come and take a seat here. A huge welcome to Riku, Petro, Nicholas, Toby, and Rob. You're going to be hearing much more from them. They've been long-standing friends of Seedcamp, so a huge thank you for joining us today. I've already run through the speakers. The speakers will be sharing some great insights with you. And then just to finish off with a few very, very basic housekeeping, please do tweet. I believe that the event's already being live streamed, but if you hear an awesome team, you love what they're doing, you learn something great from what the panel's input or the masterclasses, please share with everyone. Let everyone outside of this room know what's going on. I think this one doesn't count because it's being live streamed, so ignore that. And then finally, let's enjoy this afternoon. We want to make it really interactive, very fun, so I hope you all enjoy it. That's all from me. So now I'll invite Petro to the stage, who's going to tell us more about BizDev for startups, and he's wearing a beautiful T-shirt. I should be wearing one.